We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it high when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We shit it down, I don't hear a sound when I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back off, come on fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We shit it down, I don't hear a sound when I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, and I'm back. Back with you with another new part of What If Asta and Yuno Were the Dragon Emperors. This is part 1, and I'm back with this What If because it's Asta and Yuno's birthday for anime's most healthy rivalry in history. And anyone who says otherwise, congratulations, you're an idiot. Any rate, let's go over that of a quick recap with Asta and Yuno, two orphan boys brought to that of Hodge Village at the same time. However, one was talented with magic, that being Yuno, and one was born magicless, that being Asta. However, these two foster brothers would actually end up having powers from another world, and these powers would be the boosted gear and divine dividing, otherwise known as sacred gears in another world, as two of the strongest sacred gears were brought to this world together as Drake's and Albion's rivalry continues on within these two brothers. But Yuno doesn't want to fight his foster brother, a person that he sees as his, idol and his motivation to become Wizard King. But Asta made it a promise that the two of them would not kill each other, that they would settle their Sacred Gears rivalry as the test to decide on who is more worthy to be the Wizard King. And with that, a rivalry, friendship, and brotherhood still goes strong. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? It's been a few years since that of the pledge and oath between that of Asta and Yuno. However, everything basically stays the same. Like, for example, Asta continues to try and, as to propose to Sister Lily as always. He gets shot down, him constantly being, overly excited and pushy. She basically slams a water-based holy fist in his face, puts him in a crater, so on and so forth. As for Yuno, he's gotten a lot more confident in himself now. Shows less emotion lately, always sarcastic and basically always teasing Asta no matter what. But, however, is still the same old Yuno, always willing to help out whenever he can. As for Asta, even though the two have the same supposed sacred gear, even though the polar opposites of each other, you can't help but get jealous of Yuno from time to time. Mainly that he gets the attention of basically everybody, but he's accepted that. Not to mention, he's not as too broken up about not having magic, mainly due to him having the boosted gear in his timeline. So, as for him training with that of Drake, he does his usual, work out like a goddamn maniac and has a pretty damn swole ass body for somebody who's basically 5'2". However, figuring out that working out helps a bit with that of his stamina training, actually, which allows him to have that of longer, consistent boost, actually. Originally, he can only boost himself from only that of 3 times before having to reset himself, going back to his basic strength level. But now, he's able to boost himself up to 6 times. Not to mention, he's not staying idle, actually. He basically developed certain special moves using that of the boosted gear. One move that he calls the Dragon Blast. And yeah, it's pretty simple. Basically just a blast of the boosted gear's dragonic magic sent flying into one powerful ass beam shot that he focused on the palm of his hand. Not only that, last but not least, being that of the Dragon Slash, where he sends that of powerful dragon-like slash moves from his claws towards his opponents. And you may be thinking, aren't these pretty generic-ass moves after all? And you would think, yes they are. Mainly because they were inspired by that of Yuno. And yeah, you may be thinking, why would these attacks be inspired by Yuno? Let's be honest, even though Asta is Yuno's idol and the one that inspired him to basically, become more brave and his inspiration for standing up for himself and others, after all, and to never giving up. And even later on, Yuno's moves are basically inspired by that of Asta, even to the point where you start trying to be a swordsman, when we all know, in fact, Yuno is more of a long-range user. But Asta would always be inspired by that of others. And given that this is early on Asta, his main inspiration would be that of his foster brothers, brand of magic, such as wind magic. Basically controlling that of the boosted gear's dragonic magic into that of focused, powerful strikes and blast, like a wind blast from that of his dragon blast, and that of, using the wind to cut things like that Dragon Slash too. So it only makes sense that many of these moves would be inspired by that of Yuno. Not to mention, Yuno hasn't been being idle too with that of his sacred gear, Divine Dividing. He's found a way to basically incorporate Divine Dividing's power to divide people's strength through that of his own magic as well. Originally, he would have to touch them or punch them, and we all know on how scrawny Yuno is as a person, even though given how tall he is. That's never going to happen. But thanks to Albion's instructions, teachings, and being somewhat of a mentor figure for that of Yuno, he was able to channel that of Divine Dividing's power of supremacy through that of his, wind magic attacks. Like sending certain blasts and bursts of wind attacks towards his foes. The more bursts of wind attacks he sends, the more he divides that of his opponent's inner power. Even developing that of a way of absorbing that of his enemy's power and add that to his own strength, enhancing his wind magic and speed as well. Not to mention, even though he has a huge abundance of mana alongside his wind magic, and basically a whiz and prodigy with that of his wind magic, he basically started to figure out that maybe he needs to rely on Albion's powers too, wanting to figure out other ways to improve. However, unlike that with Drake, who didn't tell Asta this, Albion already told that of Yuno this already, about Balance Breaker, with Yuno somewhat curious about what the heck is Balance Breaker, with him explaining that it's supposedly a glitch in that of the sacred gear system that God created. But given that Albion and Drake have been on the sacred gears for so long, they started thinking that maybe it's a fail-safe system to give sacred gear users more power in case that they're in that of a, unwinnable situation. Basically, Albion's sacred balance breaker is similar to that of Drake's. They're both called the Scale Mail, basically creating that of dragon armor that basically enhances their physical strength, speed, durability, amplifies that of their powers of boosting and dividing, and everything else as well. Even magic power too. Yuno is actually quite interested in that of Balance Breaker, but he doesn't want to rush it just yet. He may be already skilled with that of Divine Dividing now, due to him amplifying his wind magic, and surprisingly, wind magic is a great affinity for that of Divine Dividing. But he wants to take this slow and steady, not wanting to rush into everything just yet. With Albion basically calling out Yuno, saying that he's only doing this mainly for Asta to get that of a head start, to catch up after all. With Yuno basically smirking to him, to that of his partner, saying, and what's wrong with that? All he's doing is basically rubbing into that of his rivals and knows that he's unlocked an ability before he did, even, and already mastered it ahead of time when he found out about it. Within hearing this, Albion basically couldn't help but smile after all these years, that the same timid, shy, and crying black-haired child is now a man truly wishing to achieve his goals, even if it means humiliating his rival that he sees as his idol. With Albion accepting this and leaving it be for now, but still telling him that there's still a chance for him to unlock that Balance Breaker as time goes on. Speaking of time, it's also, since they're basically reached the age of 15, both Yuno and Asta, it's now time for them for that of the Magic Grimoire ceremony to obtain their grimoires to help them amplify and basically develop their magic even more, even though with the boosted gear, Asta's still magicless. So Sister Lily and Father Orphle are, well, a little worried on that of, well, Asta's behalf after all. As for Yuno, on the other hand, he's not too worried, even though technically Asta still doesn't seem like he has any magic. With the boosted gear, a grimoire would be able to sense that of Drake, not Asta. The same would go for him too, with that of with the dividing, having Albion would amplify that of his already high mana supply, as everybody from that of the orphanage alongside Asta and Yuno, with that of many others who have come to gain that of their grimoires. With then, multiple tome books began to fly from shelves all across that of the tower, all straight that of their newest wielders, with Yuno and Asta haven't gained their grimoires just yet. However, once everybody has gained their grimoires and many of them were about to talk shit about that of Yuno and Asta, that is when, in that of a bright light, one of the grimoires began to glow, that of a radiant golden light, and that light was heading straight for Yuno, as it looked like it was about to go to Asta, but then turned last minute before going to Yuno, causing Asta to have that of a look appear in utter shock and basically surprise before it floats in his hands and soon shows itself as a 4-leaf Clover grimoire, one of the strongest Clover grimoires within the Clover Kingdom. Within, Albion couldn't help but basically comment to Yuno saying, if I recall, a 4-leaf Clover grimoire in your kingdom is considered the strongest, which means, and you might be destined for greatness, partner. What do you say, Yuno? Do you believe it now? But then, Yuno looks at that of Asta, before then saying, with this decides the truth that I am destined to be Wizard King, just like the first Wizard King before us. With Asta still looking in pure and utter shock, within Drake commenting saying, well, partner, it seems like you're not giving a single one. But if I recall, that old goat up there said that you can come back anytime whenever you feel like it. Saying, no, not yet. Even so, grimoire or not, I'm not giving up on my dream, Drake. I still plan on becoming Wizard King. That I promise. However, little did anybody know, a certain grimoire reacted to that of Asta as it begins to glow, that of a ominous and basically dark red aura around it as it levitates off the podium. Before then, over and over again, it begins to bang down to the ground without constantly over and over again. With then soon, many people begin to talk shit about that of Asta and Yuno. Many saying that no way a magicless boy like Asta would ever basically get a grimoire. With some nobles basically saying that Yuno doesn't deserve a grimoire like that. That it should be given to that of nobility instead. Which soon leads that of the confrontation with that of Yuno, trying to figure out that of his grimoire while speaking with Albion inside of his head. That's when two nobles try to basically taunt and, threaten Yuno to give up his four-leaf clover grimoire. He didn't care. However, instead of just basically using wind magic to blow away the one of the guy's flames and the other guy's wind magic, he basically uses dividing without even bringing out his wings when coating that of his arms and hands with that of his wind magic, infused with that of dividing's divide ability, basically forcing them to go down to their knees without even touching them, as he absorbs their magical power into him, weakening them at the same time, showing how much Yuno has basically grown and strengthened as well. At that very moment, he also sends that of two wind spears towards that of the, wannabe nobles, sending them flying backwards and knocked out. However, just like as always, that's when that of the hobo-looking guy that can give that of Aizawa a run for his money, former Magic Knight, Rebchi, shows up in all of his shaggy glory, trying to basically, threaten and basically intimidate Yuno, saying that he's not worthy for the grimoire, that he should have it himself to improve, and a chance for him to get back into the Magic Knights, blah, 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 as he opens his grimoire for that of his special magic being chain magic, sending multiple chains towards that of Yuno. However, seeing this coming, Yuno doesn't even, bother to waste time, as he basically flies out of the way using divine dividing, moving so quickly that the chains could barely even keep up with him, with Rebchi completely and utterly shocked, saying, "How the hell? I thought you could only use wind magic, and you're a damn novice! How is he damn quick or have reflexes this good?" With then seeing dodging each and every one of the chains without even breaking a sweat. Before then, using his wind magic, coating around that of his left hand. Before then, soon cutting the chains with that of one solitary wind slash. At the same time, draining that of the energy and mana from those chains and putting them into that of divine dividing, as the blue gem soon screams out, "Divide!" Basically weakening Rebchi a little bit, as he could actually feel a bit of his energy and mana basically being absorbed, saying, "What the hell? How the hell are you able to do that? I just felt like my magic just went down." With Yuno basically staying quiet, before then bringing up that of his right hand. Before then, wind begins to channel around it, before raising it up and then bringing it down with multiple wind slashes coming down towards Rebchi, with Rebchi basically completely and utterly shocked by this, before then saying, "Chain creation magic, chain wall barrier," creating that of multiple chains wrapped around each other as it creates a wall made of chains, blocking the attacks. However, you can still feel the impact shocks from each one of the wind slashes. Within, Rebchi saying, "This is insane. I thought he was basically a country bucking nobody with lucky to have a four-leaf clover grimoire and a high supply of mana. But this makes no damn sense. It's almost like..." Within, soon, without warning, he could hear somebody basically screaming, yelling, with wondering who the hell, as Yuno, on the other hand, He knows that yelling all too well and couldn't help but smile, saying, "About time you showed up." Before Red could basically react, there's soon a loud voice filled with power and strength screams out, "Boost!" Within, noticing that of the short, spiky, blondish gray-haired kid with that of the red gauntlet in his hand, in his left hand, basically lands a devastating punch on that of Rebchi's face, sending him flying and basically blitzing across that of the field, like so much to the point that he ragdolls multiple times before bouncing off the ground and completely and utterly passed out from the pain, with even causing that of the chains that was from his grimoire begin to fade away. Within, Asta couldn't help but take a deep breath before yelling, "Hey, Yuno, you okay?" Within, Yuno basically floating down, saying, "Of course I'm fine, Asta. Seriously, I don't know why the hell you were even worried to begin with." Within, I say, "Hey, don't blame me. I was worried that you were basically in trouble or anything. Seriously. Mainly Sister Lily, Father Orphle, and the kids were worried about you. I knew that you could handle yourself, but still, you were taking way too long." Within, saying, "You didn't need to worry. I could have handled it myself, but..." Within, smiling, saying, "Thanks anyway. Appreciate it." With Asta basically, rubbing his nose, and that's of pride in himself, saying, "Don't need to worry. Still, I guess this is what it's like to have that of power from another world. Honestly, even with that of just one single punch, that guy wasn't much to deal with." But then, saying, "I think it's because you're too much of a muscle-brained shrimp." But then us saying, "Seriously, what the hell? What did I do to deserve that?" That's when both the gems begin to glow on Yuno's back and Asta's left hand, with both Albion and Drake laughing, with Albion saying, "To think I'd be saved by that of Drake's host." Once again, within, Drake saying, "Proves that your host is too much of a, pansy to get things done, Albion. My host knows what needs to be done." With Albion saying, "Says the dragon whose host is basically magicless and has no grimoire to aid him in his goal of becoming Wizard King. If I last recall, needing a grimoire is what's necessary for the Magic Knight exam." Within hearing that, Asta could help but basically, have that of a look appear in utter shock. Within Drake completely quiet, saying, "Then he'll just take the exam without one." Within Yuno having a deadpan look, saying, "He can, but he won't be taken seriously. And I hear that the Magic Knight exams are pretty hard after all." Within Asta freaking out, saying, "Ah! I need to get another grimoire. Damn it, I'll just have to come back tomorrow. I swear, I will." However, before Asta could finish his declaration, that's when a grimoire basically busts out of the tower, heading straight for that of Asta, floating right in front of him with the same menacing red aura, leaving Asta and Yuno and Drake and Albion completely and utterly dumbfounded at what they have just seen in front of them. With soon Asta grabbing that of the grimoire, within even Drake interact with that of the boosted gear touching the grimoire too. It soon led to that of Asta and Drake interacting with that of an entity within inside the grimoire, linking that of both inner worlds together within them as the massive red dragon and short stack of a muscle head, seeing that of a large, dark, shadowy figure with wings and horns and spiky hair. Within saying, "Seriously, you're the person I was attracted to? The one who I believe would be my wielder of this grimoire? Think it'd be a shrimp, but The hell is that? Seriously, I didn't think the body was already occupied. Within, Drake saying, you got a lot of nerve, demon. No, wait. You're a devil. Not like the devils of my world, but you're similar. More close to what I am. A soul bound by that of a sacred gear. So you and your soul is bound to that of that grimoire. And sensing it, it's a 5-leaf clover grimoire. With Asta's eyes widening in shock saying, wait, 5-leaf clover? But I didn't think. But then, the shadowy demon, or devil I should say, saying, so you figured that out already. Maybe you actually will be useful for something. How about this? We make a partnership. Work together. I allow you the grimoire's power, and you helped me as well. Within, soon, Drake saying, what's the price? When it comes to creatures like you, creatures of sin and power, there's always a price. I wonder if my partner will suffer because of it. Within saying, it depends on him. If he wants one power, then I'll give it to him, but it always comes at a cost. For now, I'll just give him the swords that he needs from this grimoire. Nothing more, nothing less. How does that sound? Within, the two look at each other, with Drake looking at that of Asta and Asta looking at Drake, with then saying, deal. Within soon, both basically get out of their inner world. Within, as the grimoire begins to open up, and coming from that of the, dusty and basically 5-leaf clover grimoire, is that of a black blade, with that of a crossguard, and the blade in the single edge, and that of a double-edged blade that's so massive that it's bigger than Asta, leaving Yuno completely and utterly shocked. However, what leaves both Yuno and, Al being completely more shocked is they can't sense any magic coming from the blade. If anything, it's just like that of Asta. It's completely and utterly blank, with no magic, no anything, but yet it still feels unsettling. With that of Albion's dragon senses coating around, Within saying, I guess I got a grimoire now. What do you guys think? Within, Drake saying, how you like that, Albion? Even now, my wielder just continues to get even more better and better than yours. He now has a 5-leaf clover grimoire. And not only that, it even has a devil seal inside of it. I call that a greater advantage over you. Within, soon, Yuno and Albion scream out, devil! Within, us saying, Drake, I don't think we were supposed to say anything about that. Within, Drake saying, maybe I got too cocky there. Apologies, partner. With Asta and Drake explaining the situation about that of the 5-leaf clover to Yuno and Albion. However, it's Drake mainly explaining because Asta knows nothing for shit and barely can explain it properly. With Yuno basically saying, a devil inside of a grimoire. I remember something that Father Orphle said years ago, back when we were kids. Didn't think much about it, but I guess in this context it makes more sense now. They say that the grimoires of the Clover Kingdom mainly compose that of faith, love, and wisdom. 4 leaves considered that of luck, of course, which makes sense. But the 5 leaves say that the 5th leaf holds the devil. And it looks like the rumors are true. I don't even know on how it's possible for 5-leaf clovers to even be made, but it seems like that's true. Within us saying, whoa, that's crazy. But still, it didn't seem like a bad guy. Plus, it was willing to help out, too. Within, Drake saying, don't take it too easily, partner. It said it's willing to help us out for a price, which means you're the one that's going to need to go to it for it. My best advice for you, only rely on what it gives you now. Basically, that sword and possibly what other swords are within it. Plus, it's not just any type of swords, they're anti-magic swords. Within, I was saying, wait, anti-magic swords? What's anti-magic? Within, basically could help but sigh. However, you could basically hear both Albion and Drake facepalm themselves. Mainly Drake, with Albion saying, "This is the guy you look up to, saying, "Tell me about it. Sometimes I even wonder that myself." Within, explaining Asta, anti-magic is basically the opposite of magic. It cancels out or nullifies or completely erases magic as a whole. Like, no magic at all. Like, anything that touches that sword in those grimoires, as he points at that of the grimoire, won't affect it. In other words, and if you even hit somebody with this sword or hit any attacks with it, they won't affect you. Does that make any sense for you? Within, Asta saying, "Oh, that makes sense." Within, Drake saying, "I really have a partner for an idiot. Seriously." Within, Asta saying, "Hey, what the hell?" Where Albion could have a comment saying, "Even so, it shows that. Add that with the power of the boosted gear, his stamina training and physique. With those anti-magic swords, the current Red Dragon Emperor, Asta, is going to be quite the formidable rival. Don't you agree, Yuno?" Within, smiling, saying, "That's what I expect from the person who aims to be Wizard King, just like me." Within, hearing that, Asta saying, "Told you too. I don't plan on giving up. I'm going to become Wizard King, I'll take any advantage I can to reach it. And I'm going to surpass you. That I promise." As he raises his fist up to Yuno, within Yuno smiling, as their fists collide into that of a fist bump, showing that their promise for them to face each other for Wizard King still goes strong even now. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So you may be wondering, why did I blitz through all this? Come on, let's be honest. We've already gone through this so much. And to be fair, just like that of my other birthday what ifs, I'm blitzing through a lot of content. Next year's birthday what if with Asta and Yuno is going to be the same way. I'm basically going to be blitzing through that of the Magic Knight exam and the Black Bull's initiation with as well. So be prepared for that for next year. And you're right, if you guys like this, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification key to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, gaming channel, side channel, other channel, Patreon, Cash App, and PayPal. Well, if you feel like using my PayPal, I don't even feel like using it anymore. All link in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leo Mookie, signing out. Later, guys. Hope you all take care. All yours, Shiro.
Hi, everyone. This is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell and check out his playlist. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!